dear all, to twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. This is Stammer stream, manga podcast, and speech therapy combined. I'm your stammering host, Wensleydale Cheddar, here alongside your non-stammering host, Nova with an N, and Dr Hovin. And in addition to our usual roster, we also have a very special guest with us this week, dear listeners. He is a very proactive member of the podcasting community. He is the co-host of our eternal rivals, the Manga Mavericks, alongside Lumran Mayasha. He's the host of the Gintama podcast, Life Lessons, as well as One Podcast Prevails, the Detective Conan podcast. And perhaps most importantly, he's the guy who got me into sked dance, for which I will forever be grateful to him. How are you doing, sir? It's great to have you on the show.
Hey, I'm here. I'm doing a guest spot on a podcast, which I really love doing, and I'm really glad to be here.
Sorry, we didn't do a Gilbert Gottfried intro for you like we did for Sid.
It's fine. I'm sure I'll get through the day.
Oh.
I was gonna do a Sean Connery, but maybe next time.
Yeah, but I was just going to ask. Anyone have an idea for an impression? Okay. Yeah.
I got one. I got a Sid impression.
I'm sorry?
Got a shit impression.
An impression of Lunra Muyasha.
Okay. Go on.
Oh, okay, I gotta hear this.
Hey guys, I'm Lunra Muyasha. I sound like Cool Cat from Cool Cat Saves the Kids.
I thought I was
I love Black Clover.
I thought I was Lunran Mayasha. Which one are we?
And I'm
to save my life.
I'm still Caster. By the way, but this is my Lumran Mayasha impression, guys. Are you impressed? This park is fucking
Why
huge.
does he sound like Pegasus?
Because it's Caster doing a Lumran Mayasha impression, but he said he's not very good at impressions, so it's just his regular voice.
How foolish of me.
Obviously.
You know, as somebody who talks to Sid a lot, very spot on, guys. I thought all of them were pretty 100% accurate.
Have you ever listened to Grail? To Grail Online, or one of our co-hosts?
I have not.
I'm sorry?
I have not actually.
Oh yeah. So if you ever got the chance to in one of our episodes, Milo has a terrific impression of him. So. Yeah,
Hello, I'm Grail9. I want to express the absolute distaste I had for this chapter of Black Clover.
Damn.
And for everything Wensleydale does, really. So, we are here with the review of April the 16th edition of Shonen Jump. Starting with... shall we start with One Piece, chapter 901? Oh, wait. We have to scramble up the chapter title, well, the manga titles as usual.
Names,
so
yeah.
it's One Promise, which fits because there is a promise in this chapter.
Yep.
So, seems like we've got Ray setting himself on fire situation on our hands with the last chapter and all. I'm
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really too upset about that though, since I really like the chapter otherwise. The fake out was a little chip for me, yeah, but I like Luffy reminding Jinbei that he's his captain now, his life belongs to him, and he has to come back alive no matter what. Jinbei is loyal to his men, and vice versa. Which, by the way, Jinbei just can't fucking properly reunite with the Straw Hats, as they seem to be going to Wano now without him.
I think the idea behind this is that Oda wants to have Jinbei actually join the crew when all the crew is there.
This sounds good, although we've had a few times already that Jinbei could join, and he just circumstances make it so he just can't every single time. So I imagine in the very last chapter of the manga, Jinbei will just be at the other end of Grand Line, just saying, I'll join you guys soon, promise. So, how did you guys like this chapter?
It's fine. I guess I do like what it's building up to, and I do like the fact that we do seem to finally be reaching an end in this arc, which is good. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bummed out that Jinbei seems to be leaving again, because I was really enjoying the new dynamic to the crew, and there is a reason, and it's a good reason. I'm just a little... I don't know. I felt like this is the second time we've had to, like, Jinbei's definitely good. He has to leave again. Because the same thing basically happened on Fishman Island, where he sort of joined the crew, but then decided, okay, I'll be back later.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Although it'll be all the more gratifying when he does finally join.
Yeah.
So, Colton, what are your thoughts?
I think you might be having some call problems.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Oh, well, in the meantime, I like there's quite a few different things in this chapter that I do like quite a bit just from a consistency standpoint. I like the fact that Oven is still being shown as a legitimately good threat.
Oh, yeah.
That he keeps showing up, sending, and again, I'm not quite sure how he does this, but like tentacles of heat through the water, which is such an awesome ability that I don't understand and not even trying to. I
think he may be just like sending torpedoes to reach him, something along those lines.
Yeah. But I also like the fact that this is not a clean getaway, that the Straw Hats are getting away, and it happens quite a lot where, you know, people stand in the way of the enemy so the Straw Hats can escape. But this is different, certainly different from when it happened, I think, most recently in Dressrosa, where this is a really bad situation that they're leaving them in. Because in Dressrosa, it was kind of a happy, like, yay, everybody's escaping, and even Fujitora is kind of helping us out. But in this case, it's sort of like, no, Germa 66, Capone, Jinbei's crew, they're not in a good position here. They're outnumbered and very much outmatched.
Yeah,
So
this is a very intense situation for all sides, really.
Yeah. I will say one thing I'm a little confused about, though, and maybe it's just a detail I missed. At the end of the chapter, we see that the Straw Hats have gotten their flag back.
I think there were two flags on the ship. One on one mast and one on the other.
Okay.
So that might be it. That one was just torn down. I do really love this sea battle, though. For a piratey series, rarely do we ever see sea battles in One Piece, and this one is going terrifically.
Yeah, because the last like really big sea battle that we got, I mean, we had little ones in Dressrosa, but the last really big one was essentially in Marineford.
Yeah, and
so
even that too quickly became a land battle as, you know, Aokiji froze the sea.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be like half counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say, in regards to the kind of the chapter doing the Ray in the Fire thing, I think this could have been fixed for me if last chapter they'd very clearly outlined, okay, the fishmen don't seem like they'll be able to get out of this situation because this. And then in this chapter they answer with, here's how the fishmen get out of the situation and then are able to help the Straw Hats. Because then you can still have kind of the cliffhanger of, oh, it kind of looks like all of their avenues are blocked off last week, and then, or week before last rather, and then this week you can have an understandable turnaround on how they get through that. Whereas in this case, it seemed like last chapter the fishmen weren't going to be able to save them because the ocean was getting burnt up, and then suddenly they're just fine and they get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially last chapter Oda was covering for what he didn't need to cover really. So, what are your thoughts on the chapter, Colton?
I thought it was better than last chapter, honestly, and while I didn't think the last chapter was bad at all, I don't know, I wasn't really a huge fan of the cliffhanger because I didn't really believe for a second that anything of consequence really happened. I kind of had a feeling it was gonna be sort of a fake out, and I feel like I should really like the whole Jinbei sort of sacrificing himself thing if it weren't for the fact that we had seen this kind of thing done with like Bon Clay before. I feel like this is just sort of a repeat with that because I don't know, a part of me really doesn't think that I feel like at the end of the day Jinbei and the other fishmen pirates will probably make it out pretty okay. I'm sure maybe one character will be sacrificed and then everyone else will be just fine. I don't know. I like in general, I haven't really been. I think I like the whole Cake Island arc as a whole more than most of the post time skip stuff. Because quite frankly, I haven't really been as excited about One Piece since the beginning of the time skip, honestly. But the whole Cake Island in general has been a step up. But I also really haven't like the second half of whole Cake Island, pretty much everything post wedding I haven't really been as big of a fan of, aside from a few standout moments. It's just been a lot of running away from Big Mom, and I don't know, I just haven't really been as into it as much lately, but I still like this arc overall. I think
I really like the segments Oda does where it's like hectic chase scenes and it's just lots and lots of running. Like Impel Down was really fun for that reason, so that didn't bother me as much. But I definitely enjoyed the arc the most at the wedding, where it was just all hell breaking loose. It kind of felt like it could go any direction.
I think the lead up to the wedding was probably the highlight of the arc for me.
I found when there was ever straight up conflict between characters, it was pretty excellent because I loved the Luffy versus Katakuri fight. I loved whenever Oven got to interact and fight directly with another character, and that's true for most of the Big Mom pirates. I love the chapters when Luffy and Sanji were escaping together from the island. They were encountering all these lesser Big Mom children kind of trying to fight their way out. I thought whenever that happened, it was very good, but we had a lot of, here's where this ship is in relation to this ship, and they're trying to attack the Straw Hat ship, but oh, they missed, but they're so close, and there was a lot of that. So it always felt like it was a build-up to a conflict that never quite came.
I think I may be enjoying the arc the most right now. I think the last couple of chapters, especially after we got through the build up of just another few chapters and we'll reach Cacao Island and essentially this.
We're almost there, guys. 4-week break. Damn it!
I really do like that now, even after all hell has broken loose and the Straw the Straw Hats have caused a massive amount of trouble for Big Mom and the Big Mom pirates. Now, even so, we're showing the whole power of one of the 4 emperors. That no, they aren't just going to let them escape without getting getting away with everything. And I must admit, I kind of believed last chapter's fake out, essentially because it was chapter 900. So yeah, I didn't think the Straw Hats were going to be dead, but I did think that it might, for example, be the end of the Sunny.
Yeah. Or at least that they'd be stuck in a situation where we don't see the resolution to like how they get out for a little bit.
Yeah. Essentially, Straw Hats experiencing a loss was believable to me, and that's perhaps because Oda doesn't do these fake outs a lot. It felt a little cheap this chapter, definitely, but I still don't hold that against him. But I do agree with Colton that I am definitely enjoying this arc way better than the last few ones since the time skip, especially since until now it hasn't felt like the Straw Hats were in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. I'll also add, this is just kind of a funny theory, but like if we get to Wano and like a huge battle breaks loose and, you know, Luffy and the gang, they're barely holding it together. It's really tough. And like Luffy gets up and he sees something on the horizon, like gasping for breath, and like it's Jinbei and he's there and he's like, Luffy, I'm here. And he's like, Jinbei, you're here. And yeah, you know how you left us with Big Mom's pirates? They kind of chased us all the way here. With just like the huge fleet right behind them.
I was thinking something even trollier on the lines of like, nope, Chuck Testa. And it's just like some guy with the Jinbei sign. So maybe that's a canon of the meme. I don't know.
No, he's like, is that Jinbei? Is that you? No, it's Hack from the Revolutionaries. Don't you remember me?
Oh God,
I'm
I
friends with
just did. It's
Jinbei.
like, shit.
God, Hack was a bit of a bland character.
I like the running joke the One Piece podcast made of him, where they just every time he's on screen, he just goes, "I'm Jinbei's best friend." He just inserts that into every line.
I actually had legitimately had trouble remembering whether that was a One Piece podcast goof or if that was like a part of the canon.
I wish it was part of the canon.
In my mind, it is.
Because it does seem like an Oda type joke, doesn't it?
In my mind, Hack is always with us. And hello. I was just saying, if Hack was here, maybe they wouldn't have had much trouble getting out of it, because Hack could have made the brilliant strategy of breaking his hand again and then distracting everybody.
Hack and Emma from The Promised Neverland would have a lot to talk about, guys.
They sure would.
So just to mention on the thing at the end of the chapter, so Morgan's the best bird in One Piece, surely, has some sort of a prophecy
Take that,
about
Pell.
the birth of a new pirate king from the worst generation.
There's something so amusing to me about the fact that he travels around the sea in a balloon held up by a bunch of like birds on strings. Like it's so small that you can't even quite see it. But there's just something like so beautifully inconvenient about how that is to travel around. That's great.
What's even more funny that we have been shown that he doesn't know how to fly despite being a bird.
Well, you know, he's just a flightless bird. There are plenty of those.
He's Big Bird from the Muppets.
I'm saying-
Sesame Street even.
I think, considering how many birds are up there, I feel like the umbrella around the compartment should be a lot bigger. That just seems like such a disgusting way to travel if you actually think about it.
Though it does make sense. He's from the World Economic something. The newspaper. He's the newspaper king. So it makes sense that he has a lot of news coups at his disposal.
But would this technically be considered slavery though?
I mean,
well, I don't know.
Are they getting paid a decent wage? I sure hope so.
We still don't quite know what Morgan's is. Like, we don't know if he's a mink or if there's like an island of bird people separate from minks.
Yeah, because minks have all been shown to be mammals, right?
Yeah, mammals or like variations, things on the side for the most part. But we have. I'm not sure if we've seen. And look, maybe somebody's gonna send one to me. I'm not sure if we've seen a bird mink before.
No.
So I'm wondering if maybe like there's maybe like different races, because we know like the water race is kind of the fishmen, the land race is more like the minks. So it is very amusing to me that if there's an air race, it's these bird people who can't fly. Which is just all the best parts about being a bird. It's just like, I mean, I can't fly, but I look like this.
Well, there is an
maybe
air
we
race.
have some fire. Maybe we have some firepower or something like Electro that I haven't shown off, but we can't fly.
Well, there is an air race in the world of One Piece. Apart from Morgans, we have angels and champions and Bilkins. But I would say that maybe. But what's suspect to me is that we haven't seen them on the list in the Shibondi Action House, right? In the slave trade auction. So we have every other race apart from angels, which people don't know they exist. And Morgans, I imagine they would know. So it would be weird for them not to have the bird race on the list, unless they are also qualified as minks.
It would also be weird if like he's the head of the biggest newspaper in the world and nobody knows that bird people exist, which is a hilarious idea that go into like a new business meeting. It's like, okay, just go into like the boss's office, like, okay, hi boss, what the fuck are you? Just like,
I guess people would just assume he's got a devil fruit. Maybe he's got a devil fruit. I don't know.
I don't know. The point is, he wants pictures of Spider-Man, so get him now.
Do birds hunt for spiders generally?
I hope so.
I mean, I think they would.
So, don't know whether we have much more to say, but I do have one more thing. So, in the cover page, I guess Oda really wanted to draw Nami with a giant axe. But I wonder what she's doing on the Viking ship, though.
Yeah, and I wonder why it says giant underneath the panel. That's a bit strange.
Yeah, and I wonder why she's been given a new title. And she's a doctor now. I don't know.
Man, it's gonna be weird when they get back to Zoe and they find out all the stuff that's happened to Nami.
It's gonna be bad when they find a Piece conspiracy that every woman in the world is related.
I think we've spent enough time on One Piece, guys.
Yeah, probably.
All right. So if that's all we have to mention, we are skipping Food Wars for the moment because Colton doesn't read it. So we'll discuss it at the end, and as long as you are fine with it, guys.
Yep, that is fine.
Okay. So, let's move over to My Hero Stone, chapter 179. So, what did you guys think?
Sorry, which chapter is this?
It's My Hero Academia, actually.
Okay.
The one that ends in the huge clash. I really love this chapter.
Mhm.
I love how it's similar to the Todoroki fight in how it like really humanizes both sides of the conflict and gives you a good. It frames that fight as like a conflicting ideologies and like what they want out of each fight in a really strong way. Because in some ways it's a little overwrought just in the fact that Deku's going so hard for like this is just a school festival, but at the same time, the whole thing of this is Eri's first chance to have some fun, I can see that being a strong motivator, so that doesn't bother me too much. And I do really like the brief flashback we get where it kind of contrasts what Gentle's been through versus like why he'd be very opposed to the school festival, as it's kind of the thing he never got a chance at. So yeah, and the art is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good. I think the motivations for both these characters are very strong, and something I love about the backstory that we've gotten from Gentle here is there's still an inherent selfishness here.
Yeah.
That is put forward really well. So the idea that the reason he wants to be a hero isn't due to any altruistic reason, it's essentially just he wants fame and he wants to be remembered. And in the end, it's something that I think My Hero Academia does very well, is it humanizes the villains without doing what I feel like some other manga try to do, which is like, but really, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? It's like, no, Gentle's still clearly the villain here.
Yeah.
But it's done in a way where you understand how we got to this point.
Yeah, I will keep saying that it's important that his character is understood and not naively romanticized, and thankfully the manga doesn't romanticize it. Just for the sake of achieving his dream, he has no right to trample on the feelings of hardworking students, which we have seen, and Eri, who desperately needs to have some fun in her life. This was probably my favorite chapter of the week. It's handled this story pretty much pitch perfect, every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And the flashback, does a great job of showing how much terrible stuff Gentle's gone through still from failing at his dream, which, to be fair, is selfish, but time and time again through domestic abuse to finally his old classmate not even remembering his face.
I'll also say like it uses a technique which I usually don't like, where the panel directly copied of him talking about what his goal is, but actually no, is it copied? No, it's not directly copied. Oh wait, no, it is. It's just zoomed in really fast and really, really close. I usually don't like that and find that a bit lazy, especially when there's cases like Oda who just redraws the whole scene generally. But I love the way it's used in this effect, where you have the text of him going, "His dreams are dead," overlaid with the text of him saying what his ambitions are in the past. So it's actually using that to a good effect. So I do really like that panel.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely won't call that lazy since drawing is hard, especially with a weekly deadline.
Okay, I understand. Okay, lazy is the wrong use. I think it's more like when there are some cases that go out of their way so much, I can't help but compare negatively. Obviously making manga is bloody hard.
I realize it's just Oda who's superhuman. So,
yeah.
So, yeah.
I was gonna say we can't expect everybody to be like Oda and redraw all of his already drawn like sequences in his flashbacks or whatever. You can't expect everybody to do that same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of good stuff. The conflict is really tense. I understand what Gentle is going through, and I get his reasons for why he's doing what he's doing, but I still don't want to root for him. This is an excellent way of building a villain, and yeah, and I'm looking forward to see more. So, Colton, have you managed to catch up while we were recapping? Or any thoughts just on the basis of what we talked about? Hello?
Oh dear, the connections or the microphone or something is
In and out.
bugging up
Can
again.
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
I was afraid it was going to be a running gag that every time I ask for your thoughts, you just disconnect.
Oh well.
Hello? Hello? Colton?
I think you jinxed it.
Oh, damn it.
Okay, here now I can hear you. Sorry, my connection's
Yay.
been kind of going in and out a little bit here. Yeah, I was kind of skimming through while you guys were talking, and I hate that I hate that I didn't give myself the time to, catch up to academia, just before I came on, because I was really getting into it with the string of chapters. And yeah, it looks like this fight between Gentle and Midoriya has been really great, and I can't wait to kind of dig through it a bit more in my own time, maybe after we get done recording. But it looks great all around. I've actually been really enjoying this school festival arc. Up till now, I guess, while it hasn't been the most, I say up till now, it hasn't been the most action packed because it's probably the most slice of life-y, I guess, the series has been so far. But My Hero Academia has always been, that kind of thing where it's like, they do all this cool like superhero stuff, and it's kind of a running gag in the series where it's like, okay, now we're going to get to normal school stuff, which always feels kind of weird. And the characters do a great job of kind of pointing that out. But, I've really been enjoying this arc so far, and I really can't wait to see how it concludes. I really want to see where Janel's character goes.
I'm now kind of curious. Do you usually tend to read chapters in chunks, or?
No, the thing with that is I really do try to read. I do try my best to read Jump weekly, but it always just happens that I miss a week, and then that week turns into a month. That month turns into a month and a half. I usually try not to let my Jump backlog go any farther than like 2 months. So for like the past day or so, I've been catching up on a lot of this stuff. I've had like 7 chapters of like each thing I read in the magazine.
Yeah, no. I remember before I started doing the stream, I did that a lot. Especially with, I think, One Piece I keep up with like consistently, and everything else was all over the shop.
Yeah, same here. Because One Piece is the thing I really try to keep up with the most, and then everything else, not that I don't like reading as much. I don't know. It just so happens that I'm just bad at keeping up with things weekly, no matter how much I try. So no, that's not intentional. But I think sometimes I don't mind reading things in chunks, because there are certain series sometimes that I do find it kind of a drag to read weekly, depending on what's happening in the story.
Yeah, I get you. About this being a school festival arc. So I've been recently rewatching Guilty Crown for the final episode of Hovin's Trial by series. I recently got to the school festival episode. They got which Colton's mic is muted again. Okay.
No, I'm still here. I was muting because my dog was barking a bit.
Oh, okay. I was just worried.
God, I was trying to be stealthy, guys. Way to call it out.
Darn.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I expect I'll have a lot of growing up to do as a podcast host. I'm sure I'll have multiple opportunities to you know, to grow and anyway, well, let's leave that until later. And for now, let's move on to Black Academia, chapter 153.
Oh dear.
Not one of your better ones, man. Okay. This was a.
I'm of two minds on this chapter.
Mhm.
One very negative and one very positive. On the one hand, I think it was another misstep to have them just beat the villain. It felt like this arc was a perfect setup for finally we have a villain who's like a wall that they're up against, and you know they actually have to take a sacrifice, and they don't. On the other hand, the way they beat the villain is Black Clover type action in a way that I actually like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This reminds me a lot of the initial parts of the fight in I don't remember what it was called, the village where Asta got his arms back. Before he went Black Asta, that was actually quite a fun fight because you had the powers interacting with each other in a cool way of like him deflecting the blast from one fight into another fight. And this is kind of similar, how they're using the power of reflecting to basically use the power back on them. And I think that's really neat. So it's a case of I like the execution, I just don't like what they're executing it for me.
Yeah, I'm of similar opinion. I'm split on this chapter, just like you. So on the one hand, I don't like that Asta and Zora eventually came back after having such an effective moment of actual tension and hesitation last chapter. I will be disappointed if this attack ends up defeating the elves. On the other hand, this is completely fine if the elves aren't defeated, but if this is just a way to give Zora and Asta the opening to rescue Mereoleona. I also like that there is some actual strategy display that Asta remembers Zora deflection spell, which fits his character because he finds all magic just really cool. I like that the elves essentially get hit with their own spell, just stronger, so they aren't jobbed like usual Black Clover villains, but instead their strength is shown even more. Though I don't like that Zora is able to deflect it at all, since isn't his magic supposed to be much weaker? Or can he just deflect just about any spell now? Is he now Wobbuffet? But wouldn't Gauss be Wobbuffet since he has the mirror move? Also, doesn't Finral have a deflection spell now too? And Asta? The Black Bulls should really just be known as Indigo Wobbuffets. What do you guys think?
Well, I can comment on the Wobbuffet later. I'll have to think about that for a bit. But I would say that this chapter is keeping up a certain theme that I think is a bit of a missed opportunity for Black Clover, is that the possessed characters are not very interesting. They're either acting very generically, like the Snow Mage and some of the other characters that we're seeing, or they're acting basically exactly like the characters already do, like Rill. And I feel like you could do something really, really fun by taking these characters, some of which have been very, very well established, and making them act as strange as possible to really put forward the idea that they're possessed. But that's just not sort of happening, and I feel like it's a huge missed opportunity in this case. The other thing I'm not big on is, and again, Leona has been pushed forward for some reason as like the most badass character ever. But there's a weird moment of having your cake and eating it too in this chapter where they look over and like, oh, after her attack, she passed out on her feet. She must really not want to go down. Like, okay, it's that shonen thing, like they passed out, but they stood up. And then she immediately wakes up so she can have another cool on. It's like, hey, hurry up and have at me. It's like, that kind of ruins it.
I love that kind of stuff so much.
Huh?
I said I love that kind of stuff so much, though.
I
like
I'm
that
the same
stuff,
as Colton.
but...
I really like that moment too. I think I like Mereoleona all over again right now.
She's probably my favorite character in Black Clover, I have to be honest.
which is fine. Like she's a fine character. For me, I don't think those two moments go directly together because it feels like an undercut. It's sort of the equivalent of like, maybe it's not the exact equivalent, but like in One Piece, if they're like Blackbeard, after all those attacks, he died standing up. Wait, he's still alive. Shoot him again. Shoot him again.
Yeah, he died standing up. Come at me, Teach.
It's like, wait, what?
That would
just
be.
resting,
I can see your
look.
point.
To me, I'm not saying it completely undercuts the moment. I do think it undercuts it a little bit though, when it's like she passed out standing up. Oh wait, either like she just woke up, or I was just an idiot and I was wrong. She's like, no, I'm fine, dude.
No, I can see that. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Though a lot of props for Black Clover for not being afraid to show its female characters getting hurt, as opposed to My Hero.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what we talked about, like
observation.
like every single female student in the tournament arc getting knocked out by ring outs.
Also, negative props to whoever created those magic Royal Knight uniforms, because they have been worthless.
They look like pepper pots.
These people are like, I used up a lot of mana on defense, and nobody mentions like, well, if we didn't have those robes, it was like, no, really, I guess listen, we protected ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh well. It's actually, I'll give Black Clover this. It's actually a pretty decent chapter. I like the back and forth. I think the compound magic, the elemental quintet with everyone combining their magic together, I think that is actually a very interesting way of differentiating this villain group. The idea that the spirits of the elves can actually join their magics together, I think that's a really cool idea to set up. And if the elves themselves were a bit more interesting, I would like this a lot more. But overall, I think this is actually pretty decent. I think this is a good direction to put Black Clover in right now.
If they end up being recurring villains, then maybe we'll see some more individual characters from them still. I don't mind exactly them being similar to the host of the bodies. But because it is supposed to be a reincarnation spell, not a possession spell, so it's a bit more understandable that the personalities are similar. So sorry, Colton, I interrupted you again.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to say that I've really turned around on Black Clover because I used to really not like the series. I was only reading it so I could talk about it on Manga Mavericks, just to see what all the hubbub's about. Because I really didn't expect it to I really didn't expect the series to keep going, and I'm kind of glad it did because it's been doing a lot of stuff that I really like. I've really liked this arc in general, and I really like the idea of some of the Black Bulls being victim to this reincarnation spell. Because I hope I don't know if I'm maybe hoping for too much for later down the road. I'm hoping this will be a good opportunity for some real stakes in Black Clover, because I feel like Tabata, this was kind of an earlier criticism I had of the series when I first started reading, was Tabata presents an idea for like whether it be a really interesting like character dynamic or a really interesting like sort of conflict, and then he had the tendency to kind of have it resolve itself within either a chapter or like the same chapter, and that always bothered me about earlier Black Clover.
Yeah.
But I hope some interesting conflict comes out of this. I hope we get to see. I really want to see what Asta's like when he has to actually fight his friends, with the chance of him not being able to take his friends back. I hope some sacrifice comes out of this arc, or at least comes out of this idea of having. I hope we see some real sacrifice down the road, because I think that would just That's just something I'm really craving from the series right now.
Yeah.
Especially with the death of certain characters, unfortunately.
And what I really like about this exchange is this is one of the first times in Black Clover I felt like a turnabout against the villain has actually felt earned. Because there's sometimes when there's a sudden like switch, like it seems like the villain's gonna win, but all of a sudden like there's just this surge of support for the good guys. And usually it just sort of results in the villains looking like chumps. But the actual moment where Zora and Asta send the attack back and you just see the look on the villain's face of like, ah, fuck. This is the first time I actually read this and I was like, no, this feels earned. This feels like this is an actual good turnabout. And it's not like the best part is it doesn't even hit them, which is excellent and really speaks to the, actually does work for Asta's character. It's like, no, this isn't an attack. This is a distraction as we get the fuck out of here, because holy shit.
Yeah. I'd say with this arc, Tabata has undergone a lot of growing as an author. Well, I'm really looking forward to see what will happen in the next few chapters. And I really hope the elves aren't defeated by the end of this arc.
Yeah, I hope they kind of stick around for much longer, because I think they could be a really interesting grand antagonistic force for the series going forward.
And it would also be tricky because if they leave, there's really no other villain group left. I mean, there's kind of the Diamond Kingdom, but Mars has implied that he's gonna save the kingdom through mind control, and I which was still a thing. And I guess there's also the Heart and Spade Kingdom, but they haven't really been mentioned yet. So there is room to, like about Black Clover from the beginning, is it did seem like a world with a lot of scope. But considering that this is the villain group that has been built up throughout the entire series up till this point, I really hope they stay around.
Yeah. So, is there anything else we want to mention? Or shall we move on?
No, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay then. So, let's move on to The Promised Cloverland, Chapter 83. So, I like this chapter. Luvis and Bayan now seem a little different from each other to me. While I had trouble telling their personalities apart before. Now we see Luvis is into his risky games, while Bayan prefers his hunt to be more quick and efficient. Though, okay, guys. What did you think?
I thought the chapter was pretty good. I like the standoff between Emma and I don't remember each of their names. Is he Bayan?
Luvis.
No, was he Luvis? There we go. Yeah, I like the standoff between them, on how she manages to take advantage of the fact that he likes to set himself a challenge and put them on more even playing fields. That's really cool. I thought this was generally a pretty strong chapter.
Can I just point out the hilarious factor of, like, in the flashback with Luvis and Lucas, at one point Luvis is like, yeah, you can invite, and the name's just scribbled out, which is hilarious.
See that little detail really makes me think that when his name is finally revealed, that that's gonna they're gonna be like, there's gotta be a reason that we don't know that character's name at this point, and I'm really interested in finally figuring out why.
Or it's going to be something. I feel like this isn't going to be the case. I wonder if it's something dumb like in Final Fantasy 13, where it's like, well, we can't tell you the name of the chocobo because if we do, the universe implodes. Like, what? What? That
would be amazing. I just want it to be like the key to everything. I think that would be amazing. Just somehow.
My name is the Promised Neverland. Like, this is an odd name. It's like, yeah.
He said
really
it.
Weird.
They said the thing.
I don't think that could have fit in the scribble. Yeah, it's like a. I don't know. Dude, I got nothing. My parents were
really
weird. I didn't
small
have
font.
parents, but if I did, they'd be weird.
I just hope that it's gonna be something really embarrassing, and that just it was so embarrassing that everyone just agreed that okay, but no, we're not gonna say it, or else we'll just sound silly. We wanna keep a certain tone to this series.
Mm-hmm. So is when Bayon goes into the base and is looking around this area, he's sort of thinking like, this is a vault area. This couldn't have just been dug by the children. And he thinks back to Rattery, which is interesting. So this might almost be implying that somehow, and again, this isn't William Minerva, we can see from the hair, this is his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to imply his brother had something to do with building all these underground passages as well, which would be interesting.
Yeah, the one who is actually collaborating with the demons. So,
The one who specifically gave Bayon this farm, if the flashback is to be believed.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, definitely a lot of mystery surrounding that character. I can't wait to learn more about him. I like how what was it? I like kind of Bayon's way of thinking before it sort of it's very implied that it like backfires on him by the end of the chapter about how, and instead of killing these guys, I should let them run away. That way I can find their base easily. I thought that was a really great idea. I had never, I don't know. I just something about that really struck me. Like, okay, that's some really smart thinking. I was very surprised by that.
Yeah, you're right. What wasn't very smart, however, was going into the human hideout alone.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, who else was he gonna bring? Like, it's just like the guy who's ate his sister and Lubis. Everyone else is dead.
Well, that's exactly my point. All my retainers are dead. These children killed them. But nah. I have a master.
I got this.
So it will be okay for me. I'll just go into this human hideout alone. Do.
I got a really big spear, which, as we know, is the best weapon in really small, dark passages where you can't swing the spear around your body.
Oh God.
I thought it was a really great page turner how he's sort of walking through the corridors, and then on the next page you have a really great chilling panel of I forget their names, but the two guys just kind of looking through the darkness, only the white of their eyes showing. It's so chilling in a way, and I love it.
I love that you can't see anything of Bayon except his eyes, but just the moment he's like, fuck me. Just like, this was a bad idea. And it's just like a constant, like, just a line of just like 6 panels where he's just continuously realizing, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. It's just like, oh God, they're right there. Oh God, I can't move my spear. Oh God, there's something.
Oh God, everything's falling apart.
Oh God, this Lucas. Oh God, he's such a bad time.
Okay, it's
Such
Nigel, Olivia, and Lucas, and oh no, Oliver. Okay, Oliver is the Enjolras of this group.
The kid with the goggles, his name is Pepe, right? Or am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, Pepe was the one with dreadlocks, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
And the one with the weird mark on his. Wait, was that an eyeglass? Was that a monocle, or was that some sort of marking on his eye?
God, I hope it was a monocle.
That would be great.
That would be the best. Going into battle with a monocle. I want to see, but only a little bit.
Well, you have to be proper. I mean,
you have to be proper, but it's just like, I get the feeling the reason your plan didn't work is you kept having to stop to adjust your monocle. Because it kept falling. Monocles are not a good thing to wear if you have to run.
A
I
monocle
have to avenge
is
my
not a
friend.
good
Oh,
thing
hold on,
to
I
wear
gotta
at
adjust my
all.
monocle.
Oh shit! As I kill these demons, it's gonna fall on the ground like,
Then-
nice
then-
monocle. Like, ah, thank you.
and then just Luvis tips his hat and oh, well, I respect your sense of dressing, milady.
But now I'm gonna kill you because my monkey wants that monocle. He's only got one eye, so you know, it works for him.
So I think the biggest question I had leaving this chapter was, is Bion gonna live or is he gonna survive? Personally, I'm betting money that he's dead on the first page.
I mean, not gonna lie. I feel like this guy's 20 flavors of fucked right now. But if he somehow manages to pull this out, then by God, like, damn, Lord Bion, you pulled it out in the clutch.
Like the fact that he's been shot off screen makes me think that those couple of shots are gonna miss, but he's still probably gonna be taken down next chapter regardless.
I feel like unless he unveils some other crazy thing, like, oh, my cloak's made of mithril, it's like, oh well, that's a pretty good turnabout, but otherwise things do not look good for him right now.
Or my spear can turn smaller, therefore I can still use it in enclosed spaces somehow.
Yeah,
Maybe something like that. I don't know.
essentially.
Yeah.
Or if Oliver misses, that would also make them kind of fucked, as they are betting this gamble on his shot.
Or he just takes out an Uzi, like, dude, we have guns too. Like, it's not just you guys. Like, well, I don't know why we didn't consider this, but yeah, I guess you would.
Why did we use these guns before? We just have them lying around.
We just give them to the things we're trying to eat. It seems like a bad plan.
But it's for the thrill of the hunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't want to make it too easy.
So
A good chapter though. I've really been liking this arc so far.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to discuss the 81st chapter of One Punch Man?
I mean, there's not really a lot to cover besides it was a really good action chapter, and the little interlude with Saitama and King in the middle was really funny, especially the line of Saitama being like, "I'm sure Genos is fine," then remembering all the times that he's like been just completely burnt out and broken down. It's like, no, I should go. King, tell me where that alert came from.
I forgot he's the Yamcha of this manga.
I really like how Genos hasn't been taken out as quickly as he has in his other fights.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually he's been upgraded enough to be sort of prepared for most of what Garo was thrown at him, especially the sidearm blade that he has. I thought that was pretty sick. And overall, I thought this was, I don't know, the One Punch Man has been so good lately. And I mean, it's mostly always good, but I've really been liking this stretch of chapters in particular, and I also like that we're finally getting our sort of master versus student fight, sort of reunion of Bang and Garo. I am so ready. I'm so ready for one of their shits to get kicked in. Hopefully not Bang, because I really like Bang. I want him to get a few. Like, I see him probably, maybe not dying, but probably like, not getting out of this unscathed, but I'm sure he's going to get a few good licks in at Garo, because the dude kind of deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Anything else to mention, really? Shall we move on?
Yeah, we can move on. I like the chapter a lot, but there's not a lot to say. I don't have a lot to say about it.
Just a lot to look forward to, I think.
Yeah.
Okay then. So, we're also gonna move We Never Learn or We Never Laserbeam until a bit later, because Colton doesn't read that either. But let's discuss Dr. Neverpeace, chapter 55, and it's Dr. Stone because it's got Doctor in it.
Wait, hold on. 55, isn't it 54?
54?
Yeah, 54. With
54,
the
yeah.
color, with the color spread and the page.
Oh yeah. I made a mistake. Sorry. Yeah, 54. So I did really like the jump cover this week. This week Dr. Stone had a jump cover, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Tsukasa that doesn't look like a tyrannical overlord, and here you can kind of see him having a place in Senku's team like he did before.
Mm.
From how he's drawn, it doesn't really seem obvious that he's the villain in this image. And yes, Boichi does wonders with his color pages. I do really like the whole scope of the cave, the use of colors is brilliant. And I do like the chapter. I liked Suika being useful. I like the moment of tension when it comes to not having the right material. I like the wacky setting of let's go on an adventure with magma in an enclosed space where we could be killed and nobody would know. Maybe it's time for a partial redemption arc with magma?
I could see that. I really like the sort of misdirection in the beginning where, like, last chapter, they were really setting up the idea of this, like, grand expedition with, I forget his name. Man, I'm really blanking out here.
I can't wait for Grail's One Piece OC being in Dr. Stone, guys. Sorry, it's just his ODAR character's name is Gren.
Gren.
Yeah, this is Gen. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a solid chapter. The scene where the tungsten is unveiled was a really pretty looking set of pages. Yeah, kind of like One Punch Man. Like, I really like it, but I don't have much to say about the chapter.
Yeah, I gotta say, in terms of like what was happening next in Dr. Stone, a Gaston dungeon crawl was not where I thought it was gonna go next.
Chrome. I can't believe I blanked out on his name for so long. I really like how they set up last chapter, how maybe we might get this grand expedition for all these for hunting for all these like materials with Chrome, and then immediately Senku is just like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, we don't really need anything, dude.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
But it looks like we'll be getting that anyway. Yeah, I don't have much to say about Dr. Stone other than it's so hard because I constantly go between, like, as far as like my favorite things to read and Jump right now, I constantly go between The Promised Neverland, Dr. Stone, and My Hero Academia, and sometimes even Black Clover lately with this past arc, because I hate to admit it, but Black Clover has been really good. As somebody who was really not on board with it in the beginning, I've really turned around on that. But I really like.
No shame in that. I think I haven't quite turned around yet to rank it as an overall good series, but I do like what it's doing thus far.
I mean, I'll be honest. Lately, I've been enjoying Black Clover more than I've been enjoying Food Wars. So.
Yeah.
I'm still not there. Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm very behind on Food Wars as I slowly but steadily make it through the manga part of the anime I had already seen. But I have this disease where I got to start everything from the beginning, even if I've already seen it animated.
Well, that's good because the start of Food Wars is great.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But no, as far as Dr. Stone goes, I really just like seeing the evolution in the technology, seeing Senku invent one thing after another. Like this was another thing I had to kind of catch up on, that I spent an hour catching up on yesterday. And yeah, these last couple of chapters of Dr. Stone have been really good. And I just love seeing the evolution of everything as far as the technology and the story goes. Like it's really been keeping my attention, and I've really been enjoying it a lot. But other than that, yeah, I don't have much to say on it either, except I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, I do really like the you were saying about the misdirection. I especially like Dr. Stone because of this, that it can be so unpredictable, and for this reason, its humor works so well in almost every chapter. I've recently been rewatching One Piece with Idol Shitty we're at the Davy backfight arc, and
yeah.
I was really surprised at how effective its comedy has been since its jokes were really what I didn't really expect what would happen, and it really. The filler episodes of that arc were quite funny too, but there was really a difference between Oda's writing and the anime staff's writing.
Yeah, it's easy to tell.
And it's really this unpredictability that I like in both authors. So I think that's about it. We wanted to talk about with you, but do you want to stick around until the end of the episode?
Yeah, sure, why not? It'll be interesting to hear about the series. I haven't started yet, which, you know, now that they've been in the magazine for at least a year, I feel like at some point I should probably catch up on them, just because, you know, why not give myself more series to catch up on every 2 months?
Okay, so how much have you read of We Never Learn?
I read the first chapter, and that was it.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
because I know you discussed it with Sid on your show. So.
Yes. So every once in a while, you know, like it'll come up, and you know, Sid will be like, "Oh, well, this happened," and I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of interesting." I don't want to read it just yet, but you know, I'll get to it at some point, because I wouldn't mind trying it out. I think I wasn't so ready to read it just because I feel like after I finished Nisekoi like years and years ago, well, it's probably like 2 years ago at this point, I don't really remember. It feels like it ended just recently. Like after I had finished reading, you know, Nisekoi's run, I haven't really been in the mood for rom-coms lately, but eventually, you know, like I've heard good things about We Never Learn from both Sid and Maxie Bernard from Friendship Ever Victory, who we have on the show every once in a while. I know both of those guys I know are huge fans, so you know, I wouldn't mind maybe checking it out every once in you know, when I get the chance here. So I'm interested in seeing where the story has gone since then.
Yeah, well, one of We Never Learn's main strong points is its comedy, and this is a very funny chapter, and one of the more innocent ones too, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. Oh, this chapter was an absolute delight. I mean,
yeah,
I'm the resident Takemoto stan, and it's wonderful seeing getting to see her get a more comedy focused chapter again, since she is really funny. I love the 2 pages at separate points in the chapter where it's just lots of little panels of her reacting. One with her trying to speak English, and another of just her reacting to Yuguiga accidentally saying she's my girlfriend. And just the facial expressions are adorable. I love the gags in this, and like how she misinterprets what he's saying as your lingerie is excellent. And then he's like, I'm not a, and she's trying to justify how he's not a pervert, and just he recollects all of them, like the harem-y moments they've had throughout the series, and just, I give up. That was brilliant.
You know what? Never mind.
Yeah, this is tied with Hiroaka for my favorite chapter of the week, just because it hits so many of the notes that I like seeing this series hit with my favorite character in the series. So yeah.
Yeah, especially in the sequence when she first starts to, okay, they start talking in English for practice, and yeah, Yubika says, so yeah, please introduce yourself. And then she just starts with the funniest facial expressions. My name is Takemoto Uruka. No, wait, scratch that. Uruka Takemoto. Aisuimu. Beri meka hayai.
I mean, she's she's cute and she swims while baked. What better could you do, Yuiga?
Then she just devolves into just naming different sound effects. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. I guess she's showing that she's cooking.
Yeah, chop chop, sizzle sizzle sizzle, cooking.
Cooking. And then we could just phase desks. Yeah, this chapter was great. Anything more to mention though?
Takemoto, best girl.
All right then. I think that's all we need to hear. Right then. So let's move on to Food Learn, chapter 259. So, actually, something about this chapter really reminded me of the arc in Sked Dance where Roman, Bossen, and the others worked as assistants to a mangaka. Do you remember that, Colton?
Yeah, I think I remember which chapter you're talking about. I think that was near the end of its run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So namely, the mangaka is saying that one of the tricks of the trade when you have a deadline is just drawing 2 pages of full-page spread reactions to something that's already been said. So last chapter we had Soma essentially inviting Erina for a Shokugeki in the middle of them fighting against 2 members of the students' council. And now the opening pages of this chapter is just, we have the peanut gallery saying, Yukihira, what did you just say? This course meal is a Soma and Erina Shokugeki and a full page spread reaction. That's exactly the trick that they were talking about.
That's really interesting.
So in this chapter, Erina finally finds the perfect balance of Tsun and Dere, and that allows her to achieve final form. The fact that she just goes, "You are such an idiot," before she goes to cook. Like, this was a pretty cool setup chapter. It informs what the conflict of this has always been, of the Azami's influence versus the Polaris and her friends' influence, and I like that it's Erina who's essentially delivering the big final blow rather than Soma, because I keep saying because that was always a concern, that it would just be Soma stealing the spotlight and it's all like his show. So it's nice to give her the agency within her story arc, pretty much.
Yeah, I do like this chapter. So paradoxically, as Soma and Erina are competing against each other, they are also behaving more and more like a team than any of the matches thus far. And I really like that about this Shokugeki, and this time Soma is essentially acting as the sous chef for Erina. Yeah, even though it is a supposedly competitive chapter, and we have Erina taking the spotlight. We also have the two of them working as a team. So
the two things I really want to see from upcoming chapters are, one, some kind of cool visual representing the cooking with Soma and Erina doing a tag team attack. Like that's not really something we've seen done. And I feel like you could do something really fun out of that. And two, if this is the dish that wins Azami over, he needs to be stripped. I've said that on previous chapters, but we need to have him disrobe. Like it would be the perfect kind of rendering him powerless as a villain thing, because his whole thing is that he's this really imposing, well-dressed gourmet guy. So having him have his clothes literally blown off, especially since we introduced this idea of, I think it's called the gifting, I think that would be the perfect defeat pose.
So
I'd also give the ladies something to look at. So
Yeah. So what do you think is the dish? Because we don't see anything on the plates.
It could be some kind of soup, which would be odd, as that would basically mean Soma did the more main dish thing for the starter, and Erina did the more starter dish for the main.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, just based on the cooking terms put forward, she mentions at one point putting something under a broiler to brown, which implies a gratin. So the idea of getting the bubbly cheese on top, something you'd get over top of a French onion soup or something like that, where you brown the top of something to make it look really nice. So I assume that's going to play some part, but I'm not entirely sure how.
So I'm gonna make a prediction,
Mm-hmm.
and if I get it wrong next chapter, I will do the next recap of Food Wars as a tsundere. So this is gonna be water, just water, with nothing added in. But they really like it anyway. And Erina somehow made it taste excellently and go with Soma's dish excellently. There we go.
Would be something.
Is it laced with LSD?
The secret ingredient is plutonium.
Secret ingredient is love and meth.
I was
Magic.
really your loving daughter all along.
Yeah, I think I've been enjoying. I've not so much enjoying, but looking forward to Food Wars more each week than the rest of you guys, purely because there is this big question hanging over this whole stretch of the arc, which is the series going to end after this? And that's
God,
what's
I
kind
hope
of
not.
that's what's constantly keeping me kind of jumping to this one first, because if the arc does go towards a conclusion and indicate whether there'd be more or not, that's always something that ropes me back in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I know that you want to see your Alison Kurokiba thing go on, and for them to get more spotlight. But then again,
if I get half a panel in the corner of the final chapter, I'm happy. It's just at least proof that they've been in the same room in the last 100 chapters. I'll be happy.
And then Hayama is just together with them.
Oh no, Hayama can go fuck himself. I like Hayama fine, but no, those two. That's all I ask. That's all I ask, please.
I'm kind of hoping that this is the final arc, since I'm kind of tired from Food Wars right now.
Yeah, same. Like it's gained a little steam for me in like this last stretch, but the general experience I've been having with this arc is I don't feel like Food Wars has much more to offer. I feel like it's kind of run itself out of interesting ideas, and it does just feel like par for the course with every recipe. So I would rather it finished. Robotic flavor is that? Of course, yeah, I know. I'd be happy if it just wrapped up after this.
That seems to be the general consensus I see about Food Wars nowadays. And as somebody who's nowhere near the current batch of chapters at all, I'm really interested in seeing how I'm gonna feel once I catch up.
How up to date are you on the anime?
I haven't watched the newest season. I think I stopped after season 2. I just haven't had the chance to watch the last, like, I guess 2 cores. It's in the middle of its second core.
Okay. I have a feeling they're going to split this whole arc because this arc is kind of the arc it goes into is kind of what is wrapping up now. Okay. I have a feeling it's going to go like take another break, then have another 12 episodes and cover everything, including the rest of the tournament stuff. Just to the rate things are going.
Because I had heard during like the second season that the anime was really rushing through a lot of manga, and I hadn't really realized. Honestly.
Yeah, well, a lot of people I know who are like anime only fans actually really like the fact that it's so fast paced in season 2. I think it had pros and cons. There was some like the Shokugeki against Alice. I thought was done. It had more of an impact in the manga because it kind of took its time, and they sped through it a lot in the anime. But I guess if you didn't have the source material as a frame of reference, you'd probably be like, "This is cool. They're going through it nice and quick."
It didn't really.
No, sorry, never mind. Keep going.
No, I was just gonna say, I wasn't really reading much of the manga at the time, so I guess that wasn't something I hadn't really like caught wind of, and I found myself enjoying season 2 just fine. So.
Right. Anything else we want to mention?
This arc I feel like has taken a lot out of me, and I'm hoping next chapter we at least get like an interesting reaction for once, because I feel like the reactions that we've gotten have been very standard for all the cooking.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get something pretty cool next chapter, and if not, I mean, we didn't get something that interesting for Tsukasa, which I feel like would have been the big one to put a lot of emphasis on. But hopefully we get something interesting this chapter or next.
Yeah, fair. All right then. Do you mind if I discuss Robot X Laserbeam a little?
Go ahead.
Okay. So because I feel like I won't have a chance to talk about it for a while. So, Robot X Hunter, chapter 53. So I'm liking this arc so far, as we've gotten more and more into the strategy of golfing. So this chapter is revealed that the Don strap for Robo was using pins with different lengths, so that he's able to. He isn't able to measure his distance to the target properly. This also shows Tomoya's usefulness as a caddy, which I've been one of my main complaints about Robot X Laserbeam is that the second most important character doesn't get to show why he's there. And now we do, and we see them working more as a team than before. And well, so now he's he guesses the pin thing at all, and he's able to measure the distance for Robo while Robo closes his eyes. Yeah, and the Don, the organizer of the tournament, looks a little. I never noticed it before, but now looks a little like Yu Habak to me. And I find it a weird experience, but I'm still enjoying this arc.
Can I just ask, the character called Hayato Fuda, because I'm flipping through the chapter now. His nickname is Absolute King. Why isn't his nickname Absolute Unit instead?
Oh, what's that a reference to?
It's a reference to a meme. It's like, wow, look at this lad, Absolute Unit. And it's usually describing something very hench or buff or like big. Like usually like a person or an animal.
I feel like I'm missing out on all the new memes. I've heard and understood steamed hams long after it stopped being popular.
Yeah, I mean, literally, my own private Discord server is basically just a cesspool of people posting memes, so I'm always kind of in the loop on it.
Okay. I wish I could be up to date. All right then.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is going to do it for this week of Stammer Stream. Thank you for watching, either on my YouTube channel or live at twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. We usually try to record on Saturdays at 10 AM Eastern Standard Time, 3 PM GMT, 4 PM GMT+1, and 5 PM GMT+2. You can follow me on Twitter at Cheddar for updates on the stream on Pinganto, well triggered, which is still down. Hope the copyright claims will be retracted soon. Friendly faces everywhere. Hashtag Ray's Pokemon Journey featuring our very own Dr. Nova. And many other projects. Follow Milo at Hovin with an H for Hanekawa! And Trial by Guilty Crown, a series of anime commentaries he does with Caster. You can find it on YouTube in the description below. Follow Grail on Twitter at Nuclear Android, and follow Dr. Nova on Instagram to see his delicious cooking. That's instagram.com/Joan_Snow. And a huge thank you to Colton for appearing on the show. It was great to discuss manga with you, mate. Where can people follow you?
Well, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at sniperking323.
Which makes you a great person, because any Usopp reference makes you a great person.
Oh man, he's only like the best character in One Piece. I don't know if you've heard.
No, he's only the best character in fiction ever, to me at least.
I can't say I fully disagree.
I can.
But no, yeah. If people want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow
Colton,
me there.
you're replacing Dr. Nova as the new host.
Oh, okay.
For the next 4 episodes, okay.
All right.
I'm going on vacation early.
Okay, we'll go to that. Any other places? You have a WordPress site, right?
Yes. What was it? I don't post there often, and I really want to get to posting more stuff there soon. But I do have my own personal blog for whenever I feel like I should maybe post somewhere where I don't have a character limit. You can also follow my blog at coltoncorner.wordpress.com. I think the last thing I posted there, which was also the first thing I posted on there, were my top 5 favorite episodes of Green Jacket Lupin III. I think the series from 1978, I believe. I'm probably wrong about that, but I don't know. It's the Green Jacket one. You can watch it on Crunchyroll. So I had a lot of fun writing that up. Yeah, I'm hoping to make. I have ideas for more blog posts in the future. It's just when will I get to them is the internal question. So, hopefully I can get to those at some point. But if you want to follow the blog, there's that coltoncorner.wordpress.com.
Yeah, and you also have a Ko-fi.com profile, right?
Yes, I do. If anybody actually likes the things that I do, you can maybe send me a little something over at Kofi.com. You know, it's great for people who don't want to really commit to Patreon, and maybe is like, I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of money. I've had people ask me before, like, hey man, like I want to send you a couple of bucks. Like, where can I do that? And I figured, this would be the best option to do that because personally, I work at my own pace and I don't think Patreon is the right fit for me. So if you want to just drop me a little something, for all the podcasts I do,
And for
whether
a
it be life
mattress.
lessons. Yes, Manga Mavericks as well.
And for
on Podcast
the
Prevails.
mattress, right? Or have you replaced it already? For the mattress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to send me money for a new mattress, yes, I do need one very badly because I'm tired of sleeping on air mattresses. Because man, they're great for a couple of months, but if you accidentally poke a hole in it, it's gone. So yeah, if you want to send me for an air mattress, that's Kofi.com/Colton.
/air mattress.
Don't actually
there.
type /air mattress, but yeah. Okay, so everyone buy Colton and mattress, and
yes, please.
So guys, we have an announcement to make. So very soon our 50th episode is approaching. So to celebrate, we thought we might do a special episode for you guys, like a finale episode. Yeah. I wish I was kidding, but it's true. We talked about it, and unfortunately, as much as we enjoyed our time talking about manga together, all of our schedules have become a little hectic. So we thought we might end the show on a high note before we slowly burn out. Sorry, Colton, but we have been. We have been friendly rivals with Manga Mavericks for a while now, but it seems you finally bested us. Although we'll still try to reach the 50th episode mark before you guys.
We are starting up a new podcast though, where we try to kill woodworkers. So I think that'll even it out a little bit.
I guess on one hand, less competition. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I'm sad to hear that. But as somebody who runs like 3 different podcasts, I totally understand the struggle with trying to aligning with everyone else's schedules and how that can just kind of become a chore after a while. But if you guys ever want to come on Manga Mavericks, doors always open. If you ever want to talk about whatever. So there's
fun.
that.
Yeah. Absolutely. As long as you don't mind my stammering, since
dude, I'm not that much better. There's a reason I take so long to edit my podcasts.
I didn't realize you were those. So it's not as noticeable as mine, I suppose.
I mean, I don't do it a lot, but there are times where it's like I have so much trouble just trying to get a word out, and it always embarrasses me, and I always take those out so that no one will ever know.
Oh, yeah. If I had time for this, then sure, but yeah. With so many different projects on the side, I just can't make myself to edit podcasts except sometimes.
Oh man, yeah, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
All right. But we are still planning something special as a finale for you guys. So stay tuned for the next 3 episodes. We thought we might take a look at our regular series in a bunch of in-depth reviews. So we'll try to have a few more special guests join us, and next time we are going to talk about the series that brought us all together, One Piece. So the episode might not be out in a few weeks due to the sheer length of it, but it's going to be fun, guys, I know it. I'm really looking forward to talk about One Piece, and especially reading the rereading the recent arc, just to take a look at it as a whole. So, guys,
Yep.
If that's all we want to mention, then once again, cheers for watching, and we will see you next week. Take care. Not next week, but next month, in a few weeks, or something. Well, you know how it is.
Yeah, because I'm not here next week, so oh well.
Aurora Borealis!
Bye.